Welcome to the Elevate Podcast, your resource for all things business, brand, and leadership. We are excited you have decided to join us today.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Elevate Podcast. I am Robert Kalin.
Mike Newman here with you. Great to be back again today. We've got some exciting things happening. Robert, what are we going to talk about today?
Today is going to be awesome. Okay, let me just preface it with that. You guys sitting down? All right, here we go. We're going to talk about love and work. Very interesting topic, right? I mean, love and work. What does this mean? We don't often associate work and love as two things that we put in the same sentence. Most of the time we love being home from work. We love being with our families. We love doing the activities outside of work. So what does it mean to have love and work put together?
And it's not the romantic type of love in a work situation. We're really talking about loving the work that you do.
That's right. And loving the customer in all that you do, right?
And the people you get to work with. So.
That's right. There's different types of love. And, unfortunately, the English language does not do us justice with just having one word for what we mean by love. And but we have something pretty cool. So Marcus Buckingham just wrote a book called Love and Work, and that's kind of what we're basing this episode off of. Marcus was recently on Live to Lead, October 6th. He did the live event with John Maxwell, and I think we've got a clip that we can play and kind of show you who Marcus is and what he's all about. But why don't we just run that clip real quick?
Yeah, so Marcus is, if you've heard of Strength Finders, Marcus is one of the researchers behind Strength Finders, which is an assessment about your strengths you have as an individual, done by Tom Rath a few years back. And Marcus was part of that team that put all this together. So he's a researcher. And this little clip we have is going to be something that he talks about how we study things. And we'll launch then into our discussion about love and work from there. Here's Marcus.
I'm here as a researcher. I'm a researcher. I spent the first 15 years of my career at the Gallup organization, not doing polling, but doing research on how do you measure things in life and work that you can't count. How do you measure strengths? How do you measure talent? How do you measure engagement? You look around and you realize we don't do that. We don't study excellence to learn about excellence. We study failure and invert it. We seem to believe that excellence is just the opposite of failure. If you want to learn about excellence, study failure and then invert it. So to learn about health and well-being, we study disease. To learn about joy and meaning and wisdom in life, we study depression. To learn how to keep our employees engaged, we do exit interviews with the ones that leave. Everywhere you look, we seem to think that good is just the opposite of bad. And if you want good, you should study bad and flip it. We're wrong. You study bad and flip it, you just get not bad. And it's just different, isn't it, than excellence?
I love that. The idea of just like, are we just getting not bad?
Yeah. There's so much that we follow in some of these things that we get. The research shows, the study shows, and then when Marcus talks about what we dive into and look at is the wrong thing.
Yeah.
If we're going to study excellence, we need to be studying what is excellence and who are those people that are performing excellence. And in this Live to Lead talk that you've got access to, and we'll put it in the description of the show where you can access this and get this talk from Marcus Buckingham and the others that you saw, Ryan Lake and Kendra Scott and John Maxwell. Incredible information that they share, transformative for your life, for your business, for what you do. I can't say enough about the opportunities that Live to Lead presents, and that's part of why we're talking about this today. But today, as Marcus' talk is really about love and work, he shares some really interesting things about his study of love and work. And so I thought that we would start that what he talks about is we all want productivity as a business person. We all want retention of our great employees. We want quality. We want to have a safe place to work, not only from physical safety, but emotional safety as well. We want our employees to have great health as they're working, the health of our organization. We expect loyalty, and we should be giving loyalty. We want to be advocates of things. Those are things that we want. And he says that that's, the easy things to say, but are the hard things to do. And so when we study, and when he studies this part about love and work, is about when they do the research, and we all do our ratings, right? We rate a company or a business, we give them this 5-star rating. He says in all the research that they've done recently around those ratings is that businesses usually group 4s and 5s together. And he says,
I mean, they're good, right?
Yeah.
4s and 5s are good.
They're good. He says, if you want to get to what makes those companies really good, you've got to study the 5s. And so it's interesting as he talks about studying the 5s is that we've got to move from being average to above average to being excellent.
Yeah, I loved that point that he made in that with, separating the 4s and the 5s, because we don't tend to think of it in this way. We think, 4s and 5s are good. Let's see what our customers are really saying about us. The ones that give us a 4-star, they've got pretty good reviews. And the ones that give us 5, they're great reviews. But when you separate them out, the ones that are the 5s always have something extra to say. There's something that they love about the experience that they had. Exactly. Whereas the 4s, it wasn't about what they loved. It was just, it was all right. I mean, it wasn't bad. It wasn't bad. So
I didn't love it, but I liked it.
Yep.
Yeah. And so for us, as we think about how we lead, what our customers experience, what our people experience, we want to be examining what are those 5s. And he makes a really interesting point that he says that when he studied what people did, who was the best teacher that you had in school? Mm-hmm. And he said the word love came out all the time. Mm-hmm. Who's the best boss you ever worked for? I love working for Robert because,
right.
And all these things. He said, what I found was when I studied 5s is that the word love was a part of what it was, a part of what people shared every single time. And so I think that as we talk about this today, is thinking about and getting you to think about what is it that you love? What is it that you love about the work that you do? And it's kind of a different mindset. It's a different shift. Joel Manby, also, who was Dolly World and what was the other place he was at? Anyway, another establishment at SeaWorld. And he talked about this idea of love and work as well. And so two exceptional leaders of multi-million-dollar companies saying that a key to their success is love.
Yeah, Joel Manby's book is called Love Works.
Love Works, yeah, there you go.
Yep. And it's true. It's 100% true. When you can go and look at your 5-star reviews and see what people are saying, and I encourage you to go do that sometime this week. Just open up your Google reviews, your Yelp reviews, wherever you're at, and see what the 5 stars are and how they separate out from the 4 stars. And then all of the things that are on the 5 stars that they're saying, you can collect that information and do more of it. Do more of it.
Yeah, yeah.
I think about Disney. So I was just recently at a conference in Orlando called The Thing, which was fantastic. Terry Weaver puts that on and had an awesome time. It was a great experience. And a lot of the people that were there have some connection to Disney. And one of the things that stood out to me is just the fact that there's a lot of intentionality around the experience for the customer. When you go into Disney, whether it's Disneyland or Disney World, and pick a ride, all of it from walking in the line to being on the ride itself, I mean, you could essentially say they're both experiences. Like being in the line is almost as cool as being on the ride itself. The attention to detail is just incredible. And it's a huge takeaway for me of like, are we intentionally designing our customer experience, or are we just like Marcus Buckingham said before, are we just getting not bad? Yeah, I think the default is just that we get not bad most often, but when we put intention to it, we can get incredible results that people love.
Yeah, it starts with us as a leader. How do I show the love I have for the people that I work with, the the job, the roles that I serve in, and Marcus talked about designing in touch points. So
Hmm.
what you're just talking about right now is that in the line, if you've ever waited in a line anywhere, which all of us probably have to one degree or another, it's not always a great experience. But you just said the experience at Disney World and Disneyland, waiting in the line is almost as much fun as the ride.
Yeah.
So what is it that they do
Yeah.
in
So,
those particular areries?
and I, I won't say that it's as much fun as the ride exactly, but the so I went on the Star Wars. I can't even remember which one it was now, but went on a Star Wars ride, and as you're in the line, like they design the line in ways that you're only in a certain area for a certain amount of time, so it doesn't feel like it's so long as you're kind of traveling around through these various rooms, and every single one of them is like a new experience, and so you're not bored waiting in line. You can see, you can touch, you can experience the newness of each part as you go in, and it's almost like watching the opening credits to a movie, right? Where as you're designing that experience, you're kind of building this anticipation of what's going to happen in this story. And so by the time you get there, you're like ready to rock and roll, Hey, I'm ready to jump on this ride and do whatever. But yeah, I think it's really important that we are intentional in creating those touch points.
As leaders, we're always on stage, and
Hmm.
and if we, not that we're performing all the time, but people are watching all the time.
Yep.
John Maxwell has a quote that he says that people do what people see.
Yep.
And so if you want your customers treated well, how are you treating the customer? How are you treating the employee? How are you treating the people around you? Because people are watching what you do as a leader.
Hmm.
Um, I have one of the things that was a great learning for me as a young school administrator. I was doing my internship, and I was walking with the principal down the hallway, and he would stop and pick up wads of paper or a sheet of paper off the floor or a gum wrapper or a candy wrapper, and I go, "Why are you doing this?" And he goes, "Well, if I don't do it, who will?" And you know what I started doing? I started bending over and picking up the paper. And I tell that story all the time. And I did a lot of work with that school district for a period of time with their new leaders. And every one of them that caught the story says, Mike, one of the best things I learned was to bend over and pick up paper on the floor.
Hmm.
He goes, because now my floors are clean and we have a better respect. And so it was, I don't know if he ever had that written down. I've never written that down as a key thing that we do, but people are watching you.
Hmm.
And they're watching you about when you show up. They're watching you about how you run that particular meeting or how you have that interaction with the customer. They're watching you as you speak about things. They're reading your email to see what you have to say and how you say it. And I think the other thing that's really key with this is how do you handle the grumpy people?
Hmm.
You know,
And Mike, you just said they're reading your email to see how you say it. I think that's such an unthought about thing. Like people are watching, but they're not like intentionally watching. They're just picking it up because they're around. It's proximity, right? Same with the email. They're not like intentionally going, "Hey, how did they say this?" Well, I think it's really just people absorb. They want to be led, and they want to be led well, and they want to trust that you are the person that can do that.
yeah.
And so there's a lot of like psychological, subconscious, I guess, things going on below the
Subconscious
surface.
level, right? Right.
Yeah.
When you think about your opportunities that you have every single day for the interactions that take place, you're not pre-planning out every interaction, but
Right.
you're taking them with the attitude of I'm assuming people operate with the best intent in mind, that they're
Exactly.
not purposely sabotaging things. So what's your attitude as a leader? And so when you love the work that you do, you're going to take a step above that.
So, Mike, talking about loving the work that we do, there are so many things that I do that I don't love about the work that I do.
Oh yeah.
It's not every single thing that I
Right.
love. So, what about that? What do we do in that situation when,
And this is back to Marcus Buckingham research. It really was an aha moment for me when I listened to his talk and watched him, and of course the passion that exuded from, you could see it from the video clip. But he said that they did this study at the Mayo Clinic around doctors and nurses that loved the work that they did. They just needed 20% of whatever that love was, whatever it was that they loved. 20% during the day, and they were golden. They could go through all the 80% of all the stuff that they didn't like or frustrated them or anything else, but they had to have that 20%. Marcus Buckingham calls it the red thread of your work. What's the red thread that follows that path all the way through? And I just thought that was so key about, you don't have to do everything, but you do need to have part of your day with that.
and I think that's key. We have to be doing things that we love every single day. Mike, what is your red thread? I'm going to put you on the spot. What's your red thread in work that you do?
Yeah, so I think my red thread, Robert, that's just a great question. You really have put me on the spot. But I think my red thread is about seeing the light turn on for somebody, making that connection where they go, oh yeah, I could do this differently, and I could make a huge difference for people. I think, Robert, when we talk about the red thread, another thing that came out in Marx's talk, not to ruin the whole thing for you, but I'm so excited about what he has to say, is that it's not just leaders in the organization that they studied. They studied people who are doing things. They studied the housekeepers at one of the Disneyland hotels about why they love the work that they do. And so he's expecting, and he tells this story in there, so I'm not going to ruin the whole thing, but he's expecting that he's going to get the same answer. And so he points to one and says, what is it that you love about? Well, I love to vacuum and make straight lines as I come out. I vacuum myself out of the room. That's what I love. And then he looks at the others that he has in the room. Is that what you guys love? Oh, no, that's not what I love. I love to lay on the bed and watch the ceiling fan turn around and make sure it is clean. And he said, well, why is that? And they said, well, because when a customer or one of our guests comes in after a day at the theme park, they're exhausted. They flop down on the bed. They're looking up at the ceiling. They turn the fan on because they're all hot from a long day out in the theme park. The last thing I want is dust falling down on them. And so they took it from, and he's got more examples of that, but they took it from the customer experience. And so we oftentimes think about it, or at least I do from my experience. How do I see it from the customer side of things? What are they experiencing it? Or what do other leaders in the organization experience when I come in the room?
That's good. Hey, I'm going to do a plug here for a friend of mine because she just wrote a book. Her name is Tammy Fink. For anybody who's out there who would love to figure out how to wow your customer, her book is called The Wow Factor, and it's all about creating a customer experience that is off the charts, that really shows the love that you do. So go on online wherever you buy books. Tammy Fink's book, The Wow Factor, is out there. Highly recommend it. We'll have to get her on the show and talk about that because I think that'd be kind of a next thing for.
Yeah, that would be great to have her be able to share some of that, because she does some stuff in there also about kind of the 5-star rating, right?
Yep.
And how do you find the wow factor is that number 5 that we were talking about earlier on Marcus's study. So again, we encourage you to grab this opportunity with Live to Lead, and you can pick it up virtually. We'll put in the link inside of the program description, so you have that. You can reach out to Robert or I at innovationsandleadership.com or countercultureleaders.com. Both of us have that posted on the website there, so you can get it. It's an incredible opportunity for you to want to expand your knowledge and ability, and also be inspired by 4 incredible speakers.
Absolutely. And I'm going to do a quick correction there. It's countercultureleadership.com. countercultureleadership.com. Yeah, you guys, I'm really excited for what you got going on. I know each one of us really wants to put our best foot forward. Sometimes it's hard. We don't know how. We don't know the next step. I would say get inspired to take the next step. Check the link in the description and see how you can inspire yourself to really create a customer experience that's off the charts for your business. All right, for that is it for us for this week. We are looking forward to the next episode. Until then, take care and God bless.
Thank you for joining us. Our hope is this episode has been helpful for you today. If it's impacted you in some way, we encourage you to share it with someone. To receive a direct notification of our next episode, click the follow button on your favorite app or platform. You can also watch each episode on YouTube. The links are in the description. If you want to connect with us on a deeper level, go to countercultureleadership.com/resources. We'll see you next week on the Elevate Podcast.